Three tomatoes are walking down the street. Papa tomato, mama tomato, and baby tomato.
Playing Catch-Up presents.
Starring Lindsay Hinkle and Jamie Nelson.
So this is Playing Catch-Up, is it? I prefer something with a little more kick.
Everybody's favorite condiment-themed entertainment podcast.
Put some hot sauce on my burrito, baby!
Hot sauce.
Nobody puts ketchup on a hot dog.
Hello, Jamie Nelson here, and you are listening to Hot Sauce on PlainKetchupPodcast.com.
With me, my co-host, Lindsay Hinkle, and the theme of the month is live performances.
I'm trying to think of everything I've done that's been live performance. I mean, as far as, like, being in a band or pretending that we're the Spice Girls, I think the only thing that I've ever done along that vein is our 8th grade talent show. And I awesome sky blue sequin top.
I still have that powder blue jacket thing.
We should never color coordinate our outfits ever again, Jamie.
We should never wear powder blue again.
That too, unless it's in a leisure suit.
In what situation are we wearing leisure suits?
The year is 2015. I've graduated from college and have gotten a job in New York. And to celebrate, we wear powder blue leisure suits and go out in downtown Manhattan.
How old are we?
Nearly 30.
Well, I look forward to that. I'll flip forward a few pages in my diary and put that down. This day in history, Leisure Suit Day. And it will forever be known as the day.
From that day forward, every year, on April 22nd, which I believe is Earth Day, but now it is Jamie and Lindsay Leisure Suit Day.
And 100 years from now, they say on that day, if you go out at night, right at midnight, if you look closely, you can still sometimes see them, figures walking down the street in powder blue leisure suits.
So, Jamie.
Yes.
Now that we've filled up God knows how long with our idle prattling, who's that gorgeous breath of sunshine waiting in our room?
Well, it can be none other than the stand-up comic Laura Hayden. Laura, welcome to the show.
Yeehaw! Oh my God, we're being so offensive again. So, live performances. What do you think?
Nice question, Lindsay.
I try.
Well, I honestly think that if you actually want to experience something, you have to see it live. That's my own personal opinion. Watching a concert on TV is never the same energy as watching a concert live.
Yeah.
There's some sort of intangible that happens, and I think that's true with theater, and I'm a comedian, so I'm definitely a fan of live performances. I just spent a month in Scotland at the Edinburgh Fringe Festival, and I don't know if you know that or not, but anyhow, where they have like 5,000 shows going on at a time. I'm probably exaggerating, but not by that much. And having gone through the experience of how much effort it takes to put together a show, organize it with the venue, the people, and because I was a foreign traveler, the foreign passes and basically I had to fill out like a tax return with the UK in order to perform there, and it's just an endless amount of process to get the show live, to do it. And I think that almost even if you see an awful show, the amount of work that person put into making that show happen, they deserve some applause at the end anyhow, because they got off their butt and did something rather than just go, hey, this is a good idea, maybe I should do that sometime, and then do nothing.
Yeah, absolutely. I love going to live performances. I'm near New York City, so I try to get in like once a week to do, if it's a comedy show or if it's a concert or whatever. Theater if I can afford it.
Yeah, theater is pricey. I got into Book the Mormon last time I was there. Very lucky.
Ah.
I'll be there at the end of the month. Hugh Jackman's coming. Just bought a ticket. So I'm looking forward to that. I like everything. I like music. I like theater. I like spoken word. I don't go so much for the strip clubs. So I have to say that. But I have taken a pole dancing class, and I have to tell you, I have new respect for those women because that pole is hard.
We're broadening our definition of live performances.
It's still a live performance.
Suppose it is.
Maybe not one I would recommend for everybody.
Who are your favorite performers?
As far as comics go, my most favorite is Eddie Izzard, and and that's why I did the Fringe Festival, because he said it was a comics rite of passage. So I was like, well, Eddie said it, I must do it.
I saw Lend Me a Tenor on Broadway, and as I was standing at the stage door trying to get people's autographs, somebody pushed through the crowd and like bumped shoulders with me on his way out, and I had like my camera like in my hand, and I was like, oh my god, it's Eddie Izzard, and I like clicked really fast, and so I have like this really blurry picture of Eddie Izzard.
Yeah, I actually was in a restaurant here in LA with that Eddie was eating at, and as he was getting up to go, because I knew he had a show, I was like, Mr. Eddie Izzard, would you come over and take a picture with me? And he actually like, I'm in a big hurry. I'm like, I know you have a show at 11 o'clock. I don't know why you're still here, and he goes, okay. He sat down and took a picture with me.
That's nice.
Do you have any on-stage disaster stories?
I had a whole group of, this was crazy, a whole group of Mormon women drunk on vodka. And I don't know if it was like their housewives night out, but they were, because some of them got on stage. But usually I just try to work with whatever's going on. I've had some really, really insane things go on stage. I've had a man show me his penis.
Wow, did he got on stage or he was in the audience?
Yeah, it was one of those things. It was a bar show, and it was late night, and he was adamant about the fact that I needed to see it, and I was just like, well, if you're going to show it to me, show it to everyone. And he was like, really? And I'm like, well, why not? And then I did color and commentary, and it was actually hilarious. But, I was just like, because male comics, I don't know whose mamas are out there. So male comics get girls flashing them all the time, crotch and breast. I don't know what it is. They think that they can throw them off or something like that. I've had women do that to me as well, but I'm like, you're not throwing me off. Sorry. I don't know whose mamas are out there that's raising these girls that do this, but I really want to talk to them. I had a guy lick my toes one time on stage and then pay me $20. These are not the norm, by the way, but they are crazy. I had to bounce a homeless man out of my show one time. That makes you feel good about yourself. But luckily, I've never had anything. I mean, I've had crazy stuff happen, but I've never had anybody throw a guitar at me or food or anything like that. I think it comes from tending bar and waiting tables. You just get used to just about anything people will say to you, and you can react. I may not be the most funny, but I at least can be the loudest because I have the microphone.
I suppose that's good advice for people who want to go to school for improv, become a waitress or a waiter.
Exactly. I think that comics that come on stage as an alpha dog, take command of the stage, don't lend themselves to being heckled as much as somebody who is softer approach. Somebody like Stephen Wright happens to be extremely funny, but he is a soft approach, and I bet when he was starting out, before he became Stephen Wright, that everybody was like, oh my gosh, he's a comic genius. I bet he got heckled a bit because there's got to be some drunk person in the audience that's like, thinks that they can you get a little liquid courage in you, and they think they can overpower you.
Have you performed anything other than comedy, just out of curiosity?
I'm not a natural extrovert, which is really odd that I'm actually a comedian now. You do school plays when you're kids. In Edinburgh, I actually did a one-woman show, so it was kind of comedic storytelling with video and music that went around. So it was not straight stand-up. It would be more like, a funny story with music and video cues that went with it. So it was more like a performance piece rather than straight stand-up. But other than that, I've background girl in music videos and here and there, but other than that, no. Nothing theatrical that I would be proud of saying, or even unproud of saying. It made that sound like there's some sort of crazy porno in my past, which there is not.
Those tend not to be live events.
That's true. Those are not live events.
Have you ever performed with anyone else on stage?
Not in the traditional sense. I've hosted a tremendous amount of shows because I end up running shows, and even in Edinburgh next year, I'll be hosting a variety show. So it's kind of like sometimes if you watch like Letterman or something, sometimes you end up in people's acts because they need help.
Oh.
Or they need assistance or something like so. I would be lying to say that I haven't helped a magician or a hypnotist or a comic on stage that needed a volunteer. But as far as actual live performance with another person, except for like school play kind of things, I have not performed with them. I've tried improv, but I get in trouble all the time because I'm used to being on stage by myself, so I never wait for the other person to talk. Long-form improv, those people that are good at it are amazing. The ones that are short games, unless they're really good, they can be kind of like cliched and boring.
Oh.
In my opinion. Again, kudos to them. They're doing something live, but sometimes they're not as creative. The long format improv where they do a 20-minute story based on 3 suggestions for the audience and it's hysterical, those people are crazy talented.
Yeah, I've seen it. What was the one I saw the other day? They would basically, at the beginning they took a suggestion from the audience, and then they, it was 2 guys, and they just did, I think, 45 minutes on this one piece, and they told a movie, so they would actually adjust, like, quote-unquote camera angles and stuff. Like, one person would be like, and then there's a low angle, and then the guy would, like, tilt back so you could, like, see under his chin a little bit, so, like, we could, as the audience, could, like, see the angles changing. It was really funny.
Those are great. They're so talented. But the ones that are like, like Anne, one of the games like Anne and, Hot Cold, and I don't know, some of those games get kind of like, you saw them like for 10 years on Whose Lines Is It Anyways, and you're like, well, I've seen the best that ever is going to do it.
Right, yeah. Once you've seen, like, Ryan Stiles, Colin Mockery, you've pretty much seen it all.
Oh, yeah, they're amazing. In New York, I've seen the most amazing talent ever. Like, it's incredible, and I don't know why people are not out all the time. I mean, you guys are out all the time, but every time I go to New York, I am amazed at the amount of talent I will see. Just like I remember sitting not that long ago in basically an invited open mic at 12 o'clock on a Tuesday in the East Village, and and it was basically people could be anything. They could be any kind of performance art they wanted to, and they would just let you have like 7 minutes. And I saw incredible talent on a Tuesday in the East Village, and I was like, why aren't these people on TV? Why don't they have record deals? Why aren't they like famous? And then you go to if you went to the same kind of show in Los Angeles, they would all be really pretty, but not as talented. It's a lot of beauty, less substance. More substance over there, maybe not as pretty. Maybe that's why they weren't, had record deals or anything like that. But I was amazed by the amount of talent. I left there going, oh my gosh.
Everybody who's, being a waiter in New York is secretly, well, not secretly, but actually trying to, make it on Broadway or whatever. So, like, I guess that's why they have restaurants and stuff. Like, what is the Stardust Diner, where they have all their waiters and waitresses, they dance around and sing show tunes and stuff while they serve you. So it's a good outlet.
That is a good outlet. People should be out all the time watching live performances. Don't watch stupid TV. Who cares who's on 2.5 Men now?
Yeah, I know, really. Ugh.
There's nothing like a live performance for both the performer and also the audience member. I mean, that's why, people like even Hugh Jackman, they do movies and then they want to come back to a live performance. There's nothing as amazing, at least in my experience in life. I've never felt anything, and this has only happened a handful of times where it was this fantastic, where I felt like I was on stage and I was the puppet master, and I was like, and they were in the palm of my hand, and the next time I tell the next line, I knew the whole audience was going to joke. It was an amazing ebb and flow between the audience. I mean, it's when it works like that, it's magical. Now, it's not always like that, but that energy from the audience when you're performing it's like heroin. There's no 12-step program for comics, and I'm sure it's the same for actors and musicians. When it goes really well, you can't help yourself. You feel high from the experience. And an audience member who's seen a show that's amazing also leaves a little lighter, a little bit, hopefully edified in some way, or at least their load lightened a little bit. And you don't get that from sitting on your couch and watching TV. I've very rarely moved to another plane of, feeling existence from your living room. I mean, maybe you are. I know people that tear up at commercials, but it's never the same as a live performance. For me, it's really powerful because I found out about this by accident. I didn't inherently decide to become a comic. I'm actually a physical therapist during the day, and I fell into comedy kind of backwards. And I actually did it to kind of prove to my husband I wasn't funny, and I took a class, and it turns out I was funny. And my job was sucking all of the life out of me. Dealing with people that are in pain is extremely exhausting, and it can be applied to teachers and firefighters, anybody who has emotional, mental contact with people in pain or needy situations. I would leave my work exhausted, and I'd be like, I can't perform. I have nothing left to give. And then somebody would make me laugh. I'd feel better. I'd get up performing. And then I would leave at like 11, 12 o'clock at night feeling better than I did at 7 o'clock in the evening when I left my job. And the energy from performing in the audience and someone making me laugh was so unbelievably therapeutic for me that I actually went back to get my doctorate, and my doctorate is in the healing aspects of laughter as it pertains to caretaker stress and burnout. And I actually want to turn that into a speaker's platform, so that's kind of my next project. And because I think that we don't have enough, I'm calling it joy in our life. For me, it was laughter. Laughter was an amazing change in like my whole essence of life. As far as all this, I mean, I was really headed to serious amounts of burnout, and performing live, and also the energy from the audience, and getting my mind out of the drudgery of like, certain situations, caused me to have a shift in my whole outlook on life, basically. And I would like to helpfully create that for other people, because I think our world is really stressed out, and we really could use a laugh, all of us. So for me, it was really extremely powerful, the live performance. It actually changed my world. I changed my career, basically, based on this experience happening over and over and over again in my life. And I can tell you right now, that would not have happened sitting on my couch watching TV.
Wow.
I had to get out there live with the people. But I found out that the worse than the pain of people that aren't getting better, or you just hear the most horrific stories about people in pain and stuff like that. And not that you don't care, you do care, and that's the problem. Sometimes you care too much. But I found out what's worse than their pain is me bombing. So I had to figure out a way to shut off my brain from my day job in order to do what it is I needed to do on stage to make people laugh. And that ability to then detach myself from that was extremely powerful.
Wow, that's a great story. It's very Patch Adamsy.
It is kind of Patch Adamsy in my own personal way. So it was an amazing thing, and I was like, why am I doing comedy? I went to school for a long time, and I sort of fell into it backwards, and now it's changed everything about everything in my life. Actually, I think a good laugh is as good as just about as good as anything in your life that can help you feel better. Certainly better than a lot of medications.
Absolutely. Well, it sets off certain chemicals and stuff.
It sure does. There's actually, I've done an amazing amount of research now on the healing aspects of laughter, and it's a vasodilator, so it helps lift your mood, because there's also a dopamine response, but it also increases blood flow in your body, and therefore also decreases pain, because it decreases inflammation.
So you should become a doctor and prescribe comedy shows, and then comedy will keep doing well.
Well, Kaiser Permanente, I think, was doing these commercials about you need to laugh more, and I'm like, there was something about, like, there is something inherently good about the fact that they're telling you that there's non-chemical ways to address your pain, but kind of like if Kaiser Permanente is telling you, their whole campaign was, go take a walk, go laugh more. Like, I think those are good things to say, but maybe if you're a medical group, that maybe you shouldn't, like, those may not be you might be wanting to promote, like, we have good doctors or something like that. Maybe that's what I would be advertising more than, like, yeah, don't come see us, go just take a walk and laugh more. It's like, you're just trying to save money, are you? Don't come to the doctors, just take a walk.
Well, it almost makes them sound honest, though.
Have you performed live yourself? Have you spoken your written words out loud in a group or something?
Yeah, I mean, nothing big, but, in various... I actually hosted an open mic in college for a couple of years because I was in the English club. I was actually in a band in middle school, and we did like a big talent show type thing, like not something in your high school gym, but like in a proper auditorium, and that was terrifying. Partially because I'm a terrible singer.
Oh, the voice was your instrument.
Well, yeah, it was because all of our music was recorded by actual people who could play instruments. So like there were 5 of us, so we all just sang. But yeah, later on we decided to actually pick up instruments, and that was a little bit better. So your bio says that sort of emphasizes your commencement speech as your launching point. So how did that play into your comedy career?
Well, I won't try to make a long story very, very short. I was actually, I told you, not a natural extrovert. I'm an introvert by nature. I was extremely shy growing up. And when I started college, I was like, I am not, because my mother's really shy, I'm like, not going to live my life this way. They would have put me in therapy for as shy as I was as a child. I'm not kidding. I would purposely call and, not go to school on days I know I had to read out loud. I mean, I was messed up. So when I started college, I made myself take all the speech classes. I would throw up and get red and sweat and just, all the embarrassing things that happened. And I'm like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to conquer it. And then I found out that you could wait tables. Then I was like, you can make a lot of money, especially if you're working part-time. So I was like, I'll do that. Then I'll have to talk to strangers every single day. And even if it's about food, it'll force me to talk to people, which terrified me, by the way. And so I became a waitress, and apparently I did it really well because I did it for a long time. And all my regular customers were like, oh, my God, you're so funny. I'm like, not funny. What do you want? And then when I started graduate school for physical therapy the first time, we had to give an enormous amount of presentations. And I was getting better, but I was still kind of terrified. But all my classmates were like, oh, good, you're giving your presentation today, because we had to dress up on presentation day. The rest of the time we were just in, like, sports clothes and, looking kind of trashy because we were stressed out. And so they're like, oh, good, I'm kind of sleepy. You'll keep me awake. And I'm like, what? I'm talking about geriatric rehab or spinal meningitis. And they're like, oh, somehow you'll make it funny. And so this ability to make really serious things funny, my class nominated me to give the commencement speech. And as you know, commencement speeches, if you've been to a graduation, are really, really long and boring. They're like, well, I thank the faculty and blah, blah, blah. And all the time, everybody in the audience, all they can think about is the fact is, if you shut up, we can have cake. As soon as you stop talking, there's cake involved. We would like to have cake. Stop talking. So I was like, I just didn't want to be boring. And apparently I overexceeded my goal.
Oh.
I had to wait for people to stop laughing a lot. And afterwards, like, people are like, oh, my God, you're a natural up there. Oh, my God, blah, blah, blah. And now, I was terrified, and I threw up beforehand, but I still wanted to do it because there's something really wrong with me. So I credit that as my first stand-up gig. So then, I'd spend all this time getting the whole career thing going. And so I had to, start the whole career. But then a year later, every New Year's, instead of pretending to give up something, because I've never managed to stop drinking, eating, or swearing, I try something new. So it'll be 11 years this coming January. I flipped the coin. I was either going to take sailing lessons or a stand-up class. And I flipped the coin, and heads came up, so I took a stand-up class. And again, really just expecting to go to this little class and prove to my husband I wasn't funny, because he would say, oh, you're funny. I'm like, what do you want? I'm not funny. What do you want? And so anyhow, apparently I was funny, and it keeps evolving into some bizarre direction. And I was like, where is this supposed to go? And so I keep trying to follow out where it's supposed to go, and I think I'm getting a better heads up on that. And like I said before, there's no 12-step program for performers, as you probably know. Once you start, you can't stop. You can go on a hiatus, but you won't stop.
Well, who knows? You could have been a sailor.
I could have been a sailor, but I suspect that I was probably, I would take the sailing class and I'd be like, that was nice, because that's how I ended up taking the pole dancing class. Because at one time I was like, I'm gonna try pole dancing, because that was like the big thing for middle-aged housewives to do, take pole dancing instead of like step aerobics. So I've taken pole dancing classes, I've taken ballet dancing classes, I took flamenco, tap. Something new to try, but it doesn't stick. Some things stick and some things. I'm still looking for a bongo drum teacher. That's what I would like to learn next. That, and to be able to do one pull-up, But I still haven't got to either of those yet. Yeah, so anyhow, even look at bands that go into retirement. We're like, we're retiring until the next time we go on the retirement tour. How many Eagles retirement tours have we seen? They can't stop. It's a 12-step program.
Oh, I know. Yeah, I know a guy who's in a quote-unquote retired band, and like they have concerts several times a year. You're still together.
Because you can't stop. That live performance is too much. It just feeds something in you, and it's not just ego. It's something. It is great when it goes well and the audience is applauding. That feels lovely, but it goes deeper than that. It's just this healing kind of for both the performer and the audience when it goes really well. You can't say that music isn't powerful. People have, been moved to great things and tears and joy from music, and also theater performances and spoken word and even comedy. So you don't get that unless you're there with that intangible energy, in my opinion.
Maybe that commercial should have said, go to concerts, get on a stage. You'll feel better.
You will. Kaiser Permanente.
So we are running out of time. People can find you on laurahayden.com.
That is correct.
And you're also on Facebook and Twitter?
Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, MySpace, if anybody ever goes there again. I think I'm on High Five, too, but I never go there. I'll be in New York on Halloween. I don't know where to go.
Oh. Well, there's a parade where it's like downtown. Greenwich Village, maybe, or East Village. It's in a village somewhere. I went one year. It was raining. But me and actually the 3 people that I do this podcast with, we went as the Scooby Gang.
Oh, how awesome is that? Scooby snacks for everybody.
There was only one guy, though, so I had to be Shaggy.
but I kind of have the hair.
Who doesn't want to be Shaggy? Shaggy is the best character on the Scooby-Doo.
And the easiest costume ever.
Fantastic. Nothing better than costumes and candy, I'm telling you that right now.
Well, thank you very much.
And everyone should go check out Laura Hayden.
Everyone should laugh more.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jamie.
All right, have a good night.
You too.
Bye.